I've spent a year with the Asus ROG Zephyrus M16 and was recently able to benchmark the 2022 model as well with the i9-12900H and RTX 3070 Ti. So in this video, you're going to get some things that I love about this laptop, some things that I don't like, as well as last year's benchmarks and this year's benchmarks to help you make a purchasing decision. So let's jump right into things that I don't really like about this laptop first, then we'll get into some of the likes. The battery life is something that I wish they would have chosen Ryzen. However, because the Intel performance is so great, I do like that they chose Intel for this laptop, because if you wanted Ryzen, you could get the G14 or the G15, and both of those laptops come with great battery life. By choosing the M16, you're choosing Intel, which gets slightly better performance, but lower battery life. So it's kind of like, I don't like it, but if I don't like it, then I should buy the G15. And if you don't like it, you should buy the G15 or the G14. But if you do like Intel, buy the M16. So that's the nice thing about the Zephyrus lineup, is we've got a couple options. But if you want battery life, the M16 is not the choice I would make. Now, the next thing is the matte keyboard deck. And this is getting a little picky, but it just fingerprints a little too easy for me. And this trackpad fingerprints a bit as well. Though it does fingerprint on the G15, I'm pointing up there because I have a G15 up there. The G15 doesn't come with this matte kind of soft touch finish, so it doesn't fingerprint as much, but the M16 does. So if you're somebody who's prone to oily fingers like myself, you might want to avoid this specific model and go with maybe the G14 or the G15. However, as far as the actual keyboard is concerned, I love the tactile feel. It's quiet, it's got a nice medium to long key press. The trackpad is nice and quiet. It's got a very nice diffused sound. It's got a very confident click that just feels great under my finger, great to the touch. And I do like the lack of numpad. Personally, I don't use a numpad a lot, so I like the simplified keyboard with the upward facing speakers. Since I've talked about these two things, here's a quick audio sample of me using the trackpad and the keyboard, as well as an audio sample of the speakers as well. And while we're showing off samples, here's a quick sample of the webcam, which I think is good. Not great, but it is good. Here is the webcam on the Asus ROG Zephyrus M16, and a little sample of the audio for you as well. Now, one thing to be aware of for these Zephyrus models is this power button. The power button on the M16 and the G15 have been good. They've clicked on and off, very nice, no like stickiness. However, I had a G14 earlier this year and the power button just felt a little sticky. Again, I don't know if this is like model per model or maybe, a quality control issue, but I did notice that my G14 had kind of a sticky power button where the M16 and the G15 were totally fine. I just wanted to point that out in case it was something that happens to you. I would definitely contact warranty and see if you could get that resolved, because it was kind of annoying on the G14 that the power button was sticky. But the M16 has been great. Now, another thing that I'm not fond of is that the 2021 seemed to have better thermals. For whatever reason, the 12th generation, maybe, more power, just didn't cool as well as the previous iteration. You can see the two thermal results coming up on the screen now to show you kind of the comparison between the two. But we had substantially cooler temperatures last year than we do this year. If thermals are not a big concern to you, and to be totally honest, the 2022 thermals are not highly concerning. The highest they get is in the mid 80s. We don't hit any 90-degree thermal temps, but I just wanted to note that last year was slightly cooler. Now, a big win is going to be a bump in performance for this laptop. Over last year's model, I'm going to start to kind of cycle through the benchmark charts as I'm talking so you can see where the two models sit, but the 2022 M16 really kicks it up in performance. Specifically for myself with 6K video editing, the playback on 6K B-RAW was fantastic. We only had 148 drop frames for 6K B-RAW and 1,441 for red footage, compared to last year's model, which had 2,977 for B-RAW and 12,123 for red footage. So going from Intel 11th gen to Intel 12th gen for video editing 6K was a big jump. So going from the i9-12900H and an RTX 3060 to this year's model with the i9-12900H and RTX 3070 Ti was a nice bump in performance. Now do note that the newer model comes at a slightly higher price tag because of the RTX 3070 Ti. It comes in at about $2,149 versus last year's model coming with the RTX 3060, which I personally believe was slightly underpowered for the i9. That started at about $1,849. Another area we saw a nice increase in performance, of course, was in Photoshop. We saw over 1,000 points in the Photoshop benchmark. So if you're gonna be using this for Photoshop, video editing, or After Effects work, you're gonna have really good results with this laptop. Again, last year's model will be good as well, but I really think that this 2022 model with the Intel 12th gen and RTX 3070 Ti is a big bump in performance that's worth the upgraded purchase. Now we do have a great selection of ports on this laptop. You have our power adapter on the left side, HDMI, network port, USB Type-A, 2 USB Type-Cs, and your headphone jack. On the other side, we have a micro SD card reader, your Kensington lock, and a USB Type-A. I really wish this was a full-size SD card reader. The G14 also comes with that micro SD card reader as well as the G15, and I just think it's kind of silly. Like, it does have some usefulness if you are somebody who uses micro SD cards, but most cameras, most videographers are using the full-size SD card. And when I think about it, a lot of people say, well, it's a gaming laptop. Why does it need an SD card reader? And I would ask you, it's a gaming laptop. Why does it need a micro SD card reader? So if you're gonna put the SD card reader on there, why not put the full-size SD card reader on there? Now, by far the biggest competitor for this laptop is going to be the Legion 5i Pro. Now, this is not an i9, it's the i7-12700H, but as you saw in the benchmark charts, it hangs out with the M16 on those charts quite closely. So definitely one I think a lot of people are considering. So if you are, definitely click or tap the screen here if you want my dedicated head-to-head review between these two models. Hopefully it'll help with your purchasing decision. Otherwise, links in the description below if you're ready to make a purchase of the M16. Likes if this video has brought you some value, and subs if you don't want to miss out on the future uploads. I'll see you here on the next one.